Hello, everybody. It's Jenny Ciccone here from Joyful Journey Coaching, and today it's our new video series of Soulful Women's Journey. And you can see I have a new colleague with me today, Vicki Haddock, right? And
Yeah,
yes, and Vicki is a transformational coach, and we both actually are alumni of Coach U school, and we were trained professional coaches, both helping soulful women to really unblock themselves with any unconscious, mindset or any stuff that got stuck inside, so that we can really step into our authentic selves and fulfill our soul's purpose here in this lifetime. So we have so many, resonations together about the work we do and the people we serve. So here we are today.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you for
welcome,
inviting.
welcome, Vicki. Yes. And before I go to our topic today, which is releasing victim mindset. So before I move to the topic for today, Vicki, I leave it to you. Give us a couple of minutes introduction about your work, especially, your unsilenced, concept. I
Yes.
think our audience will be really interested and will benefit from knowing it. Okay?
Yeah. So my mission is to help women across the world live unsilenced lives and to develop to the greatest of their potential. Like everything that I do goes into that. And it's probably, I'm so passionate about it because my life was silenced in so many ways. This victim consciousness that we're going to about today is one of those ways that I kept myself silenced. And so, when I talk about living in an unsilenced life, it's about removing all of those things that have kept us silent. Some of those are cultural concepts. Some of those are things we were taught as kids. Some of it is religion. Some of it is limiting beliefs that are outdated, stories that we've told ourselves. So it's about
Oh,
stripping all of that away. I come
yes.
from a background of overcoming toxic relationships, toxic religion, toxic many different
Yeah.
situations. And so that's what leads me to this work.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. That's why we are so aligned with
Yes.
each other's work and a concept. And it's also me. Actually, I was always like angry when I was a child. I could not be me giving my voice. So it's you use the language, unsilence yourself, and I just need to give my voice and to be me. I need to express myself as who I am, not
Yes.
just the one to adapt and blend in to be somebody else. So yeah, because of that, through our journeys, we came up to do our work. We will have chance to, introduce your journey maybe more next time. But today, because of the time limit, so we're gonna just dive in, okay,
Sounds
to
great.
the
I'm ready.
topic. Yes. So the victim. So the first thing I would say, because in our community, both Vicky's and mine, we have a lot of, soulful women who are very positive, right? With good positive attitude in their life, really want to, uh, I wouldn't say achieve, but also like be themselves, do whatever they are meant to do. So I don't think any of us have like a intentionally intentional mentality of victim. Everybody knows. Now, in case I was a victim before, I have positive attitude. I have done tons of work to get rid of it. So I'm positive, right? So I'm now, like not a victim anymore. But So I just add this but because we sometimes don't know. It's still there. So it happens at our in our subconscious mind, unconsciously. So I will give it to you, Vicky,
Yeah.
to initiate that and share with us some of your experiences or opinions.
Yeah. So it's curious because you mentioned the word positivity, and I want to start there because quite often when we are trying to be positive, it's because at a very deep level, we're negative. And I spent a lot of my journey trying to force and portray this positivity because there was such a great well of negativity underneath it. And I think this applies to the victim mindset because when we're trying really hard to not have a victim mindset, it means it's because there's still some victim down
Yes,
underneath there.
the wounds, or we
The
can
wounds,
say,
yes, and
yes,
the wounds keep us snapping back to that baseline until we heal that wound. And that's why I think the subconscious part of what you do, the work that you do is so important because if you think about, maybe this is the baseline level of our positivity and we're really intentionally trying to be positive and we bring our words and our language up here. But as soon as we kind of relax that facade of positivity, we kind of snap back to that baseline. And it's the same with this victim mindset. So the more that we heal these wounds down here and raise that baseline, then there's not that snapping back to action. We just more naturally become that. We're not having to monitor
yes,
ourselves so much to kind of force ourselves to be in this.
yes, yes. Oh, yeah, wonderful. I love what you said just now, so that we don't need to force. So when we need to force, it really tells that internally we have some kind of resistance or whatever energy that's still there. So we have to, like unconsciously still carry that heavy self, carry that baggage of life, and keep going, keep pushing. So
Yeah,
it actually consumes us energy.
it
So,
does.
like, yeah, many people we work with are professional women, or some of them are like us, healers, coaches, spiritual beings. So when we need to just move forward, do our things, we don't know. Sometimes it's just not happening. It's not happening. It's like there is some like subconscious blocks, and we thought that we have worked and got rid of already. Actually, it's not. It's still there. We don't know it until we know it. So,
Okay. I
yeah.
had an interesting experience over the weekend. I did a social media fast for
Mm-hmm.
2.5 days, kind of. And during that time, I did some cleaning. I won't say a lot,
Okay.
but I did
Oh,
some cleaning
yes.
that I wouldn't have normally done. And I was scrubbing my bathroom floor. And it was interesting because the parts of my floor that I thought were clean, when I scrubbed the parts I thought was dirty, all of a sudden now the parts that were clean were dirty. And then once I got it all scrubbed, there was still a few dirty spots that really stuck out. And I think that this is a great analogy to how we
Yes.
heal this victim mindset. It goes to so many different things, but I used to operate my life 100% in victim mindset. Then I began to clean it up a little bit. So there was some parts that looked cleaner and then some parts that looked dirtier. So, then I had to clean up that part that was still dirty. But by doing that, all of a sudden now it shows that, okay, I still have some more work to do over here. And today, where I'm at in my life, it feels like I've scrubbed a lot of that floor.
Yes.
I can now more quickly spot when a victim mindset pops up.
Wow.
I can more quickly spot that because of all of this work that I've done in kind of scrubbing up
Yes.
my life.
I love that analogy, and also the story. It's just well said. I mean, it's exactly like our work.
Yeah.
So yeah, listening to you and thinking about my own work and my own life, you know, in the corporate world, when I worked before, I kept pushing and striving hard, being positive or whatever. And then when anyway, life situations happened and I got caught into this situation, I had to heal myself or so. And then when I did it, I feel like, oh, I cannot believe that. That's not me. I'm not negative like that. And I judged myself harshly, right? So I felt like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna working on it and it will be gone quickly, because I work
Right.
hard
I'm going
on
to
it.
focus. I'm going to give some
Yeah.
laser
And I
focus.
want to push it away. I don't like it, right? And then the more I work on, and the more layers showed up. So I was very upset or whatever until finally I realized that there was nothing wrong and there was nothing like, you know, that negative. I need to beat myself. I need to, you know, judge myself or so. I just need to honor that part. And that's when this giving the voice part show up. I
Yes.
just need to listen to myself,
Yeah.
my true, real feelings and real self talk inside of my head. So of course, we found our tools, right? And I just started to use this and I started to accept myself more and more. So when I did that, I thought, oh, no wonder sometimes when I sat in front of the computer, I needed to work and I just stopped there. It's like something just blocked me and I need to go to different places doing some errands, chores or whatever. It's
Actions.
just didn't want to do it. So a lot of, you know, kind of resistance. So finally I realized I had, when I used those tools to help myself, I had that thought still stuck there. It seems it's telling me like, you see, I am so limited and restricted by my life, from my life. And because the family situation, parents, my father criticized me, you know, so much. He used it as the motivation and I hate it or whatever. And then I didn't realize I actually criticized and sabotaged myself. A lot of those kind of, you
Yes.
know, talking are going on. So those kind of thoughts, beliefs, exactly are like the victim. I was a victim.
Yeah. I agree. And we can trick ourselves into thinking that we've healed to a point where we're never going to have to experience this again. But I think that the more we heal, it's just the quicker we spot it when it shows
Yes.
up.
Yes.
But I think I told you before we got on the call today that I caught myself in a victim story this morning.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes.
I think it's just exactly what you said here. So when I catch myself in a victim story, I'm usually feeling stuck on it or trapped in a situation and pulled in two different directions. And the pull is usually between what my inner soul is pulling me to and what I feel my obligations, roles, responsibilities are pulling me to, and somehow they conflict. And I've been doing this kind of inner battle with myself because my daughter graduates in May. She's my
Mhm.
youngest. And I've stayed in the town that I live in just purposely for her to finish high school here.
Yes.
It's been a great town, but it's not a town that I want to live in apart from her being here in school. And so I've gone round and round about, am I going to sell the house? When am I going to sell the house? What am I going to do? And it's brought in a little bit of my money story. I have kind of a victim money story that I've been healing throughout my life.
Mhm.
And so I realized this last week, it kind of felt like it was really coming to the point in time where I have to have a conversation with my kids about what my intention is. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to tell them that it's just too expensive for me to keep the house. And, you know, if I'm going to go, my heart's desire is to travel, to go explore, to go be with you in Florida during the winter,
Yes.
you know, and
Yeah.
so it seemed easier for me to blame that on the lack of money than on just saying, I'm choosing to do this. Because in my mind, if I say I'm choosing to do this, maybe they're going to feel abandoned. Maybe they're going to feel hurt. Maybe they're going to feel like, you know, but this morning I just had this such clear aha moment that I'm dodging, I'm trying to blame this decision on
Yes.
things instead of taking responsibility for it. And instead of owning that, you know what, I have stayed here supporting you. I've been, you know, joyful in doing that. And now it's really time for me to own that my soul's being called in a different
Yes.
path.
Yes. On my
And how,
terms.
yeah,
Yes.
and how the money story, the role of what I feel my responsibility as a mother is, got all caught up in there and had me feeling trapped and locked into this one path. But when I can just step back and take responsibility to say, no, those are just,
Yeah.
I can take responsibility and own the path of my soul and not blame it on other things.
Yes.
Blaming keeps us in victimhood.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing. That's a great story. Really. It's so easy for us to just get so used to the old way, old stuff, old everything. And then when we dig a bit deeper, we found, wow, a lot of reasons that keep us there.
Right.
Fear, whatever. So yeah, just like me, the same. I was like angry. I could not be myself. I could not give my voice or whatever. And then I felt like, I don't need to go to the whole world to announce that I have my voice. I want to talk to, the whole world. It's not like that. So when I finally start to honor myself, just give my voice even to myself, allow myself to listen to it and, express and release it. I just feel like those kind of, I call them stuck energies, are just gone. And then when it's gone, I feel like I just have the pure desire. And now here we are. I'm here talking about my work and to receive my calling to share the messages, share our stories, and share some experiences, maybe, very often from real people, our clients, of course, not their personal stuff, so it's common for it's human nature, humanity. So when I just do that and I feel more and more aligned, then this victim mentality shifted. So internal resistance, it's going less and less. So when I go out to do whatever I need to do, I just don't have that much internal resistance that I need to keep pushing. It's just so tiring. So now I reserve more energy, healthy energy to just take actions.
Yeah, I mean, what you said there is so key there, Jenny, between the doing and the being. And what I heard you say is at kind of the beginning when you realized you were becoming unsilenced and you sensed that you might want to share this, but you didn't feel the need to try to go out and force or find a way to make it happen.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So it's only when we can honor, be aligned, just be ourselves and know who we really are. So our feelings, because I, as EFT practitioner myself, it's about all about emotional freedom.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of feelings, subconscious mind thoughts and the beliefs. If we can just address it and be real, let it out, give our voice to speak out, and it's just gone. And then, we are more aligned. Then we can step into the journey about what you said, becoming. We just become the person we were created to be.
Yes.
Then, a lot of the conflicting, I love what you said also, the conflicting stuff inside, internal battle stopped.
Right. And that's this morning. I've been wrestling with this in some format for a long time. I'm the coach that teaches other people how to get out of victim mindset.
Yes.
Um, but this morning, when I made those connections, the shift of energy that you were talking about was just instantly there. Actually, I think it
Wonderful.
shifted overnight for me in my sleep, because when I woke up this morning, there was such a great feeling of openness and expansion. And then it was like, as I began my morning kind of meditation, quiet time, it's like all the pieces just dropped in. And I think sometimes we don't get quiet enough to let the dust settle to be able to see. And I think that,
Yeah, by itself.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's what this weekend of kind of social media silence for me was like. I knew there was something I was needing to understand. And even Sunday night, as I was kind of winding down this silence, and I didn't feel like I had that understanding, like my mind got so angry. Like, you spent this whole weekend, being silent, and yet you didn't get what you were wanting from it. And then I realized that my mind really was striving this, struggling
Yes.
to find an
We are
answer.
all so good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, thank you for sharing. And we don't have that much time left, but I also do want to mention a one important point. I believe, sometimes even though we know we are in this zone, we do have these kind of victimized mentality or so, but we already also do have done a lot of work. But this is also my experience and also many of my clients' experiences. But the similar pattern or old way of doing things or feeling or thinking, it still doesn't go. So I found actually again in our subconscious mind, there was some kind of reluctance to let go. So I found it very often that our old way of thinking, this victim mentality, actually still serves us and it protects us. So, for example, myself, I use these kind of tool to help me, and suddenly I just help myself to speak out whatever comes up in my mind, speak it out, speak out. Suddenly, I remember years ago, I went to this angry mode. This anger came out. I speak out my anger. It's like I just want to hold on to it. I don't want to let it go. I want to hold on to it until you give me your apology. So it's like to my father.
Yeah,
So we,
demanding
yeah.
something of him for you to be okay.
Yeah, so it's like, I wanted to hold on to that kind of feeling being a victim because I'm limited now, you see. I'm restricted. I feel like I hate it. I don't want it to stay with me, for me to stay in the state forever. I'm afraid it to be like, to stay there forever. But then, the other part of me actually didn't want to let it go because I'm still holding on, waiting. It's almost like you need to come to me, apologize to me, something. So this is my story. I have all kinds of stories. Gradually, maybe next time or so, I'm going to share more. So many stories.
Do
People
you
have
think, Jenny, so you were still in a way blaming him instead of
not
taking full
now.
responsibility?
Yes, yes, that's good point. Good point. Yes, when we are in that victimized zone, for sure, we are still blaming. That's why we want to hold on to it. We want them to apologize also. And instead of taking my full responsibility for my life right now, whatever happened before, it passed. The past doesn't exist now.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a person that you're blaming. In the story that I shared a little bit earlier, I was blaming money and
Yeah.
some other things. So
Yes.
so you don't get caught up in what you're blaming, because it could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing.
Yes, yes, or tribal, family, whatever, culture, everything,
History.
everything could be. Yes, yes.
Because I
So,
grew up in this family, I'm this way. I was communicating with a member of my audience just this week, and she was saying, well, my family came from um, Germany out of the World War II era, and from what we would consider, the wrong side of the war, and how she had taken on what that meant about her. And so sometimes stepping out of this victim consciousness is even disconnecting from old
oh
stories
yeah,
of
oh yeah,
generational family stories.
yes, so true. So now we realize, we know that, yeah, it's the fact. First, we need to address it and assure that it's a fact. Yes, somewhat we became victims in some areas in our life. That's okay. But also, it's okay that we allow ourselves to go there. It's almost like to connect to our younger version of ourselves to help that little one there back then, to really give their voice and silence ourselves and let it out to heal the wounds, so that we will shift back to the neutral state. And
Absolutely.
this way, we will not be triggered anymore. And we are not victim anymore, not from now on anymore.
Yeah.
So this way, we are more aligned and becoming. So these are all beautiful, beautiful feelings and energies. We both are lucky enough, went through our journey, coming out now. We are experience it. That's why we want to come out, do these kind of work, sharing these with others, because we know that it might help others to do that also.
Absolutely. And I know
Transform.
that's part of your work, Jenny, is the emotional freedom technique that does that. And part of my work that's kind of the equivalent to that is some neuro-linguistic programming work, which
Yes.
really gets down in that subconscious and helps to rewrite and release patterns. So, two techniques that work very powerfully. You could use them together, you could use them
Yes.
independently.
Yes.
I think for you, I don't know what your story is, but for me, I've used a whole number of different techniques on that
Yes.
releasing of that subconscious
Yes. Yes.
stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, when you talk about that, I need to mention, because, we do carrying the calling and come out to, help people, in case any of our audience want to know more about our work and connect with us. We will put our information there. So we definitely will come back to share more of these kind of messages, or so share the story and our tips. But the timing is up, and before we let you go and finish this, I'd like you to give our audience, Vicki, the final point you want to share about this victim mentality. What you can do, or what you want to say.
Well, I think even in the word victim, it kind of by definition, a victim is somebody doing something to us that we don't want to have done to us. And there can be some genuine times in our life when that happens. Maybe as children, things that were out of our control happened to us. But as adults, we are at choice. And when we choose to, instead of seeing ourselves trapped and captive to this thing, whether it's a person, an event in history or whatever, when we shift to that, saying, okay, I can own and accept that I've experienced this experience and now I take responsibility for what comes next. Yes. That's what gets us out of victim mode.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Take full responsibility for ourselves. Yeah. It's really kind of so familiar concept, but to fully practice and apply this, it's another story, right? Okay. So for me, I also like to share the final point that, so how can you find yourself still being trapped in this mentality, victim mentality? So I would say just observe yourself, check your patterns, check your triggering patterns. If you have something or some emotional state or some thoughts and beliefs or even behavior, actions taking in your life, you just feel like it just keeps happening. I always come back. If there is a pattern, that means there is stuck energy in that pattern. So we can track and find out what happened in the first place. And then we just need to address and give the voice and let it out, and then shift back to the neutral state, and then practice the concept of taking full responsibility to do what we need to do.
Absolutely.
So that's my final sharing. So, and I hope it's not too long. every time we just extend the time. But anyway, thank you so much for everybody who's watching now or watch later. We will come back, Vicki, to share more.
Yes, and I want to just mention that that you can support Jenny and her work and this message by liking the video that you're watching, subscribing to Jenny's channel, and sharing,
also yours, Vicki.
Yes, sharing, subscribe to my channel and share this video with a friend, because if somebody would have shared this information with me back when I was just really in that stuck mode, it would have been like a beacon of light shining in my darkness.
I thank you so much for mentioning this. It's so true. And introduce more friends or family members who who can benefit, to share, subscribe on YouTube videos or whatever. So just spread the message, help more people. Thank you for watching, and bye for now. We will see you soon. And give us also the feedback and your intention, your question, and your suggestion. What topics you want us to talk about and share more in the future series. Thank you, Vicki, for being with me today, and everybody. Bye for now.